And we continue now our conversation with Congressman Ralph Norman of South Carolina. Basically, we've established that we no longer have an actual border to our nation. It's being ignored by us, by those who are supposed to enforce it. And I saw video footage last night of all of these new post-Title 42 illegal immigrants crossing the border. Congressman, I'm sure you saw it too. They get this care package, big manila folder. It's got a free cell phone issued by the government and a whole lot of goodies in there, and a notice to appear for their asylum hearing. Congressman, the notice to appear is dated either 2026 or 2027. How in the hell is anybody going to enforce that?
Well, they're not, and that's the intent of it. I mean, how many can keep a piece of paper for a day, much less for 4 years? And it's a joke. It's just optics. They're using that to say voluntarily you're asking illegals who are coming into this country illegally, invading this country, to appear on a court date. How realistic is that? Again, it's just for political optics to act like they're doing something that has no teeth to it.
So this brings us to the conversation over spending, the budget, and the debt ceiling. I heard the president and spokespeople from the White House this week say that Republicans are undermining border security efforts because their new budget cuts spending for the Border Patrol. Now, that's just a lie, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way to say it. I know that we're not supposed to use that word in Washington, but the White House is lying about your budget.
Not only are they lying, they are intentionally lying. This isn't an innocent lie that they don't know. It's like Mayorkas. He knows what's going on at the border. Joe Biden, now whether he understands, he's not mentally capable now. But no, we put together a plan that is in writing. It's something that makes sense. We cut the 87,000 IRS agents. We cut the dollars that went for free tuition. And he continues to say that we're cutting the military benefits, veterans benefits, and Social Security and Medicare. What he's talking about is the COVID, the funds that are sitting in escrow accounts. We're clawing that back. COVID is over with, and that's what he's claiming. But all that is just wordsmith. Where is his package? What's he gonna present? But he's made his claim that he wants a clean debt ceiling, which is no cuts. Larry, he doesn't cut $1. If you run a lemonade stand and are 12 years old, you can find $1 to cut. He's not. It's an insult to the American people. And we haven't seen the spending under any administration like the $10 trillion this president has spent. And wait till the municipalities and states starts claiming, when all these 15 million immigrants get into the municipalities and the cities, they're going to be claiming they don't have any money. They need to take care of them. Well, the federal government doesn't have money either. So
yeah, Gavin Newsom's already heading your way with his hat in his hand looking for a payout like he did in the Trump administration. So Congressman Norman, the president's lying, the Secretary Mayorkas is lying, the White House spokespeople are lying. I think Speaker McCarthy's done a brilliant job getting the debt ceiling and budget bill passed through the House. No one thought he could. He did it. He's in the power position in this negotiation now. But what's this negotiation really going to look like if you know the person on the other side of the table is a bald-faced liar? And then, I mean, how can you trust anything the administration says in this process?
Well, you can't. There's no truth to this administration, and Kevin has done a great job. Now, during our caucus meetings, we're applauding Kevin for doing what he's doing, but he's got to stick tight on this. We've got to ride this thing out. The preview of coming attractions is the Democrats and Janet Yellen are going to scream, going to call 911 on June 1st or maybe earlier, saying the government's out of money. I'm sorry, the IRS just got a paycheck on April 15th. They're going to claim they're out of money and then try to make the Republicans look or concede. We're not going to do it. Kevin, there is no negotiations off the bill. Let him point out what he doesn't like and let the American people judge. We're going to stick to the bill. I think Speaker McCarthy will hold the line, and I don't care what date. I mean, he's drawing this thing out time-wise to meet and re-meet. It's time for him to put whatever he wants to meet, whatever he wants to say in writing. His words mean nothing, and only when he puts it in writing and let him disagree with whatever, and then we can respond. But unless it's minor changes, I don't see us capitulating.
I think it's also important to point out that I remember Speaker McCarthy asking for a meeting with President Biden and the White House over this debt ceiling issue in mid-January. The first meeting happened this week. So to start screaming about the June 1st deadline is rather disingenuous, considering we're up against it because of Biden's lack of interest in negotiating or discussing it even. I wonder if you could shed some light on this other issue that keeps looming, and that is the 14th Amendment. Now, based on my history lessons, the 14th Amendment was something that was passed along with the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery and to clean up the mess after the war between the states. There is language in there about debts, but it seems to be specific to the Civil War. Why are they raising the specter of the 14th Amendment with regard to this current negotiation?
I have no earthly idea. I don't know why they're raising that issue. I have no idea why are they raising the hostage issue. What are we holding them hostage on? They're just, for once since the Biden administration has taken over, they haven't had consequences. The consequences in this is shutting the government down. We're willing to do that. They can raise all the questions they want about any amendment they want. But it makes no sense. And the way they're doing this it comes from the same playbook they've always used. Claim Social Security is being cut, claim Granny is going over the cliff. America is going over the cliff if we continue with this administration, if it doesn't change course. Every one of them ought to be impeached, to be honest with you, but who do you put in there? That's the importance of the election coming up in 2024.
Oh, I keep referring to Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's impeachment insurance policy. Congressman Norman, another thing about a negotiation, not only do you have to trust the people that you're dealing with on the other side of the table and not think that they're liars, which you can't in this case, but you also want to make sure you're negotiating with the actual decision maker. Now, based on the way you're characterizing President Biden's ability right now and his cognitive skills, doesn't sound like he's the one who's actually calling the shots. I mean, who do you think is actually running this White House? Who should we be negotiating with here?
Well, first of all, when you can't read a teleprompter, when you can't even read a congratulatory note without having it written down, you've got a problem. Ronnie Jackson points this out, and he ought to have a cognitive test as President Trump did. Who do I think is running it? I think the Obama administration. I think the remnants of that. And who else knows? I mean, I have no idea. All I know is the result is not good for this country. And he can't, Joe Biden is pretty much gone as far as any being aware of anything. I don't think he knows what day it is. That's why he's stayed in his basement. That's why he, other than just giving lip service to small press conferences where he knows has to call on the reporters that are friendly to him and have even that written down. I think but to answer your question, I think it's probably the officials in the Obama administration and who knows else. I have no idea. They're socialists, I know that.
Staffers and appointees. All right. It's interesting because during the Trump administration, I'm old enough to remember a few years ago, and they would have nightly conversations on cable news. They would have daily conversations on Capitol Hill, Congressman, about invoking the 25th Amendment with President Trump. I mean, you saw President Trump this week on CNN. I don't think there's any politician at the national level right now who could probably handle CNN the way he did. Clearly, there's no cognitive decline there. Why is no one talking about the 25th Amendment with President Biden at this point?
The reason they're not talking about it is, one, look who's in reserve. I mean, the giggler in chief. Who wants her? And then, the fact that, I mean, it's sad that he's even being considered seriously as a candidate. He's not somebody that everything he's done since he's been in office has torn this country apart. That's going to continue. But I think the fuelness of it and the fact that we're so close to another election that is monumental. Every election is important. This one, if we don't have a change in the chief of this country, we lose our country. And I think that's pretty clear.
Quickly, Congressman, we only got less than a minute left, but it's kind of cool that it looks like you're going to have two prominent members of South Carolina politics running for president. Of course, Nikki Haley's already up there, and it looks like Senator Tim Scott might be running. First of all, this is your chance. Are you going to run for president too? Make it a threefer?
I'm going to wait and see who else gets in. The more the merrier. But right. I'm excited about Nikki Haley.
You're Lindsey Graham, Congressman. And then, but is there pressure on you to have to, you're a South Carolina guy. You got to throw down with one of these two, or how's it working for you?
Well, I already announced for Nikki Haley. She and I, I'm supporting her. And I told President Trump that. But, the great thing, Larry, all of our candidates in the Republican bullpen are capable and will do a great job. But I'm for Nikki Haley, as I told President Trump, I like her. I've seen what she'll do. She'll do great things for the country.
I think listen, I've got Asa fever. That's that's how bad Joe Biden is. Even Asa Hutchinson. Thanks for joining us, Congressman. We'll be back with more on O'Connor tonight.